So today we have transfer deadline day. We've got 2 games, including one against Juventus. I tell you about all the people we've signed since you last saw us as well. It's going to be an exciting one. You've done it again, haven't you? Who, me? No. Yes, hello, welcome in to 11am Sports here for Glory Hunter on Football Manager 22. We've started Season 2 of this, so if you have missed some of it, go and check out the previous episodes. We started Season 2 in the last episode, talked you through some transfers. There's some more to talk through today as well, so please like the video for a transfer deadline day as we approach that after a couple of games today. And subscribe while you're there as well if you're not already, so you don't miss an episode of this Monday to Friday at 11am. As we say, we are still here as Roma. We've got a game in hand with a lot of people around us because today we play the late game up against Juventus. You can see Juventus up there in 4th position, won 4 of their 5 games. We are in 7th, having won 3, drawn 1 of our 5 games, just 2 points behind them. Inter just lost for the first time this season, which means a win for us puts us within 2 points at the top of the table. Should we lose, we're still 5 points off, but Juventus are going up there, so it's going to be very, very tricky, just as it was last year. Very tight up the top. I mentioned we'd won a few games there, and that's because since we last met, where we won 3-1 against Sampdoria, we beat Brescia 2-0 there. Goals for Abraham and the first one for Isco as well. We then lost to Lazio 2-0. In a disappointing performance in the derby. We got lots of yellow cards, which is always good, I suppose, for a derby, but I'd have rather had the win. We then drew 1-1 up against Cagliari. We did go up 1-0 thanks to Sesko's second goal. He's starting to score some goals as well for us, coming off of the bench. 82nd minute we scored there, but then they scored a goal in the 85th to get the draw. That was a game against Cagliari at home, and we had another game at home up against AC Milan. 2 goals for Tammy Abraham in that one. Meant we won that 2-0, and that's how we are in 7th place with a chance of going higher should we beat Juventus today. But Juventus are looking very strong. They are a very good team, obviously, plus they don't have any European competition to worry about because they were knocked out, or didn't even qualify, I should say, last year. So they're fully focused on the league, and I think they're going to be a tough side to topple this year, alongside Inter Milan as well. I mentioned that some transfers have happened as well, and indeed they have. A couple of outs. Calafiori, who played a lot left back for us last year, is away out on loan to Salernitana. The team is not in our league anymore, but they're in the division below, so I don't have to say their name that often, except for when we're talking about Calafiori being out on loan at them. See, he played quite a few times for us last year, 23, 19 of them starts, but he's just not developed as much as I'd have liked throughout that first season. So Spinazzola's back to full fitness. He'll be the first choice left back. We'll see if Calafiori can, improve while he's out on loan at a team who should be winning a lot of games down at the top of Serie B. Another big name who was on the way out was Stefan El Shaddai. I know, very surprising. He played well for us when he came on last year. He played 28 times for us, 17 of them from the bench. So you can see we've sold him for £8.5 million. He was on, for us, he was on over £100,000 a week. He's on 58,000 at Sassuolo, but I say over £100,000 a week he was just sat on the bench, just kind of wasting money there, in my opinion. So we made some money on him, sold him off, say for £8.5 million. It's a little bit annoying that it's up against someone who is competing with us and actually finished above us in the league last year, didn't they? Sassuolo got 4th, annoyingly, but yeah, let's pretend that's not the case. Maybe he's going to go there to sabotage them. And we've brought in 3 more players so far, 1 permanently and 2 on loan. And the first one here is Isco. I was talking about that in the last episode, that we were trying to get Isco over the line. That's exactly what we have done. You can see basically he's on the same wage as Stefan El Shaddai was. It's almost a swap, I suppose, but Isco can cover more positions. He can play central midfield as well as attacking midfield, can play wide, can play up front if we really need to have him up front. I don't imagine we will. He's a very skillful player, 30 years of age. He's here on, 3-year contract, so probably when he's 33, he'll probably have fallen off by then. See, we've got him for free. He's worth £47 million. I think that's a good sign. Technique 19, passing 16, first touch 17. He's an ideal playmaker, can play in that midfield role. And He plays at centre midfield, play him as a deep line playmaker, and I think that's a position that he's going to kind of morph into, because you see his pace 11, acceleration 9. He's not going to be doing anything running about, but just get him sat there, vision 18 as well, sat in that deep line playmaker role. I think he could be an outstanding example of that. I really do. And just looking at his traits, he likes to come deep to get the ball. So if he's playing as a deep line playmaker, he could drop in between the centre backs, get the ball, spread it about. I think he could be a really good sign. He's not in the first team at the moment. He's sat on the bench, but he could very easily become a starter if he plays well. Another option we have here is Valentino Lazaro. We've loaned him from Inter Milan, joining permanently at the end of the season for I think around £4 or £5 million. He's the right winger that can also play right wing back and right full back as well. So there's just adding some more options there. I think he's a very solid player. Very good physical stats, can get down the line, crossing 15, dribbling 15, technique 15, passing 14. Very skillful player, out at wide, get the balls crossed in. A very attacking wing back, I'm imagining him as, on that right hand side. I think he could be a good option there for us. Obviously, we have lots of options in the wing back positions, but we were struggling at the end of last year, remember, because we were playing Spinazzola on the right-hand side, even though he's a left-sided player. So more cover there is a bonus as well. We can also play on the left-hand side if he really has to, but mainly a backup option on that right-hand side. Because remember, we've got Florenzi back as well. He was out on loan last year, so he's back as first-choice option, and Lazaro will join him, and they'll be competing on the right-hand side. And the last player here, I think, could be an absolutely outstanding signing. It's Cole Palmer, signed from Manchester City. The wonder kid, basically. He was out alone at from Man City to Sheffield United last year, where he had a very, very good season. 15 goals, 10 assists in 40 games. He played the first game of the season at Man City this year before we loaned him. We're paying, £1.3 million is the total cost? Yeah, £130,000 a month as a monthly fee. And we have an option to buy him for £49 million at the end of it, and that could be very, very cheap for a player of his quality, depending how he develops. Coming in off that right-hand side, he can also play behind the striker. He could also be the striker if he really had to, but mainly as that winger, can play right or left-hand side, I suppose. 6'2", again, similar mold to Zaniolo, tall, but very, very good physically. Look, 14 pace, 16 acceleration, great there in the physical stats. 16 technique, passing's 14. He's only 20 years of age. He's got time to develop some of those as well. Finishing 13, if that goes up to 14 or 15, he could be a very dangerous player cutting in off that right-hand side. I say, got him on loan for a year. If you want to pay the big money, £49 million, we could get him at the end of the loan spell, and we'll see what we want to do. But I say, I'm very excited about him. So that leaves us with what I think's a very, very strong squad. One that I think could easily compete on all three fronts this year. SerieA, the Italian Cup, the Coppa Italia, and the Europa League proper that we're in now. We're not in the Conference League, but in the actual Europa League. I think it could very, very easily compete. We're using both. I like all three formations we have. I like this one here that we played with a lot last year. The other option where we've got two up front, which could be very important, and also the 4-3-3 as well, to add those extra bodies in midfield and still keeping those wingers. I think it could be a very, very good year, and hopefully we can continue our good form playing today up against Juventus, and that is the first game today, and let's get right into it. This is the team we're going to go with. Patricio in goal, Gico and Romagnoli at centre back, Florenzi and Spinazzola at wing back, Veretout, Pellegrini and Tolisso in midfield, Zaniolo and Kluivert either side of Tammy Abraham. 4 goals for Abraham. Sesko's got 2 as well, mainly coming off the bench. He'll probably get to start at some point, you'd imagine, but not today up against Juventus. Full strength side. Let's see how we get on. I don't think I'd be too disappointed if we got a draw today either. Away to Juventus would be a tough game, but a good result if we could get it, and we'd still move up into 5th place should we get the draw. But obviously we'd like to have the win if we've got the chance. Kulusevski's got it into Morata here. It's going to be a chance probably for Juventus. Danilo and De Ligt passing it about at the back, forward to Artur. Remember, we know a lot of this Juventus team quite well. We've had a one-season challenge in FM21 last year with them, and we did pretty well in that one-season challenge. Spoiler if you've not seen that already. Go and watch if you haven't. It was a pretty interesting idea. A one-season challenge, see if we could do better than what they did in real life. Moise Keane's going down the line there, and it's played it back to Locatelli, over to Asuncao and Artur and Moise Keane and Morata, and that's tucked in, and they're going to check for offside, but it was onside, and they're leading 1-0. Who needs VAR? Of course it was onside, I knew. It was a nice piece of play from Juventus for their goal there, so can't be too disappointed, but that was not a good ball from Hijo there at all. And Szczesny's come out very far out his box to get that ball, and he's giving it straight back to Spinazzola, and he comes in field, and could we get a chance from this? Pellegrini forward towards Zaniolo. Can the ball come into the box? It can. Tammy Abraham scores a goal. What a finish from Abraham there on the volley. I don't know if that was meant to happen from Zaniolo, the way he kind of dinked the ball in. You'll see it in the replay, but it was a wonderful ball in and a wonderful finish from Tammy, who's dropping a little bit deeper here. You see Pellegrini forward to Zaniolo. Does he do this deliberately? No, he kicks it off the defender, and it comes to Abraham, who hits that on the volley. A lovely cushioned side-footed finish. And we're back 1-0 now, and Florenzi with the corner kick swings it in, and Abraham unmarked in the middle there. I think he must have been just put off slightly by the defender in front of him. And he heads over the bar from about 6 yards out. Oh, he should have scored that. Get to half-time here, and there's a couple of players who are not playing well. We're going to demand some more from the team at half-time here. We're going to take off Kluivert, who's not playing well, and we're going to bring on Cole Palmer to play in his place, to come in off that right hand side. It's going to be the debut for Cole Palmer here, so he probably doesn't know too much of what's going on, but what a game to make your debut in, up against Juventus, in a game that we really could do with some fancy skills from him out there. To the ball, out from the back, slow build up for Juventus here. Bonucci to Asuncar, and it's launched long, but Kijo's going to get on this, and we will recycle the play. He comes forward to the ball, finds Veretout, Pellegrini, Abraham, Tolisso with it now. Spinazzola drives onto the ball, into the box. Will he hit it? No, he plays it back. Veretout, there's so many bodies in the box. Tolisso hits it, and Locatelli heads it away. And is it going to be a Juventus chance as they break away? It's like a 5-on-3 here. Morata forced wide. He's going to get sent off. That was a poor challenge. He flew in with both feet there. He's going to get sent off. Oh, no. Oh, fantastic. Oh, what are we going to do now? Now, obviously, we could take off a midfielder and just play a flat 4 in midfield. We could take off a winger and maybe move Palmer more centrally and play a diamond in midfield or something. Or play 2 up front, but 1 a deep line player. I don't know. We could go to a 5 at the back formation and go 5-3-1. That might be an option. Yeah, I've went with the first option. We're going to go to a diamond in midfield. We've taken off Tolisso, who's not having a good game. We'll drop Zaniolo to play in central midfield alongside Pellegrini. Palmer can move to an advanced attacking midfielder role on a support thing, and Abraham can still act as a pressing forward. So we're still going to have most of our width coming from the full-backs, the wing-backs there. Hopefully the midfielders sit comfortably in midfield, cover these defenders. Zagaru's come on, by the way, for Tolisso. Tolisso the man coming off. Oh, we've got half an hour to play, down to 10 men. Not exactly what I was hoping for. We're going to move to a more cautious mentality, which I think is sensible to do. Zagadu's lost the ball there, and Keane's played it back to Locatelli, and now we can hopefully get a better shape and try and defend this. Locatelli, Alexandro, forced out wide. Locatelli with it again. Back to Alexandro. Palmer goes to meet him. It's swung into Kulusevski, and he looks for offside, but he was onside, I can tell you. And we're down 2-1, and Kijo's sending offs resulted in Juventus going up 2-1 here. Just when we thought maybe we could get into this, we get a man sent off. It's very, very, very disappointing. We're going to go for it here. We're going to bring on Sesko for Veretout, move to a 4-2-1-2 formation, remove that defensive midfield player, and we'll see how we get on, see if we can get ourselves another goal. Spinazzola's going down the line here. I don't imagine this is going to be a highlight. I imagine this is just a highlight because I was making a change. The ball swung in and, as I say, cleared away. Veretout's going to come off. Sesko to play up front alongside Abraham for the last 10 minutes, and we'll see if we can somehow get a second goal. And time's ticking down here, and we've not had a highlight since we made those changes, and we're going to lose 2-1. Disappointing after a very decent performance in the game for us. Just that sending off, I think, made the difference there, as it kind of made the game a bit more boring as it got on. It kind of killed the game, the sending off, unfortunately. Then they scored quickly afterwards to go ahead 2-1. Disappointing defeat, but hopefully in the next game we'll play slightly better. And then we've got deadline day, a very busy episode. Obviously it means Kijo misses the next game as well, so it's going to be Zagadou. Maybe if he scores a goal we can sing his song, or Kumbula as the options at centre back alongside Romagnoli probably. A chance for them to show themselves a way to get into the team, I suppose, if Kijo's going to get himself sent off like that. You can see the defeat keeps us in 7th place. 5 points separating Inter in 1st and Hellas Verona in 8th. Still very tight, but that's the sort of game we'd need to be taking something away from, I think. Well, I was thinking deadline day would be a bit boring, but Florenzi looks as if he's might be on his way to Porto, which means we might want to bring in another option at right back for us. Just now, Florenzi is our first choice right back. Other options include Daniel Vaz, who's currently got a bid from Fenerbahce and Olympiacos, so he might be on his way out at the moment. Lazaro's obviously here now, and Desciglio, but after those two, Davide Santon, maybe we could try and see if we could bring in a right back. It's not something I was imagining I was going to have to do, but if we bring in some money from Florenzi, how much of the money do we get? 75% of it. So we currently have just short of £1 million. If we do bring in the money from the Florenzi deal, we might have 3 or 4 sat there, so we might be able to bring somebody in, possibly. It's something to think about. We do have a game up against Spezia to play first, as we say. Spezia are the team we should be beating, as they're down the bottom half of the table. They're actually only 3 points behind us, so maybe it's not going to be as easy as I thought. But yeah, Spezia should be a win for us today. We lost to Juventus last time. Hopefully a win against Spezia today, and then we'll continue on through transfer deadline day. It'll be a slightly longer episode. You get to see lots of different things. And I say probably there will be some transfer dealings going on, even though I didn't think there would be, because there's offers coming in left, right and centre for some of our players. Remember, Veretout wants to leave as well. I promised him he could, but what he doesn't know is I'm not going to sell him. So I'll see how he feels about that. Some more exciting things to look at as well. Here we've got the draw for the Europa League group stage. So the big teams will go in as top seeds here. You can see we've got Group B. Man United also in the competition. Dinamo Zagreb, AC Milan, Bayer Leverkusen, Tottenham, Celtic and Slavia Prague. Looking at the second seeds, you can see them just beside me. Feyenoord, Valencia, Copenhagen, Malmö, Rennes, Club Brugge, BRG, I'm assuming is Braga. That'd be my guess. But I'm not sure. But I'm going to assume they are indeed Braga. And Dinamo Kiev as well. Obviously, I think you'd want to avoid Braga, Kiev as the kind of better ones. You can see, look at the coefficients. Someone like a Malmö. I think we played Copenhagen in pre-season, if I remember rightly. If I go look at the schedule later on, I think we drew against them with a rotated side. So we'll take not having Rennes. We'll see who we get. Copenhagen, I think I'll take that as a second seed. That's a fairly kind second seed compared to some of the ones we could have. And looking at third seeds again, there's Wolfsburg I'd like to avoid. Monaco I'd like to avoid. Anderlecht I'd like to avoid, actually. Maybe Molde. I would appreciate, maybe we could have a tour of Scandinavia if we get Molde. Fenerbahce go there, and we get Ludogorets, the Bulgarian side, who aren't exactly the easiest of sides to play against, but certainly easier than some of the options here. And then looking in the fourth seed, obviously we don't really want the Hungarian champions. I'm assuming they won the league again, because they normally do. So look at the Hungarian League. Yes, they have indeed won the league again last season. So we've got the Hungarian champions. Who we'd like to avoid? Espanyol would like to avoid. Someone like Hapoel Beersheva from Israel would take, or maybe this team, Vaten Nord Sportskaf Tirol. That's a hard name to say. We'll see who we get though. Is Espanyol. That's probably one of the tougher ones, but all in all, it's not too bad a group. I think we could have had a tougher group than that. Copenhagen, Ludogorets, and Espanyol. And the good thing is, I can say all those teams as well. So we're handed an easy group. That's what they say. Fixtures have been rearranged. And if we look at the schedule, I say, goodness me, look at those games. We've actually got back-to-back because we don't have a game for some reason that weekend. So we've got 2 Europa League games back-to-back. But you've got 1, 2, 3 Thursdays in a row. And then we've got a few Thursdays off, and then it's 1, 2, 3 Thursdays in a row again. So it's going to be tricky, certainly in terms of fitness. And what my initial plan was to play the games against Inter and Torino as the last episode before the World Cup happened. But games have been moved about, and I think we might have a couple of episodes between now and then, just to show you how we're doing in these competitions, because it's worthwhile showing you, I think. More than just a couple of games between now and the World Cup. So yeah, up against Spezia today. And I think actually Spezia is going to be where we finish it. I'm seeing how long the recording's been for this episode, and it's going to be a long one. even if we stop it just after the Spezia game, because we've had all this stuff happen. So the next episode is going to have the transfer deadline day in it, and if not much happens, we'll show the Fiorentina game in that as well. But yeah, there's going to be a few more episodes than I thought, I think, before the World Cup happens down there in November and December, because there's lots of games that have filled up in here, and it's moving some stuff about. So we'll play Spezia tomorrow in the game world. In this episode, you'll get to actually see the game against Spezia, and then we'll have deadline day in the next episode. Apologise for all you who've been listening so far and thinking, oh, we're going to get to deadline day, we're going to get to see some sales and some buys. I'm afraid you're not. Not today. You're going to get to see that in tomorrow's episode, and I'm not going to have a look at that. What's going on with some of the names of these derbies, by the way? Derbies? That's not how you say the word. Derbies. The Mole Derby. I mean, I have the Soul Derby with Napoli, and that one there's the Mole Derby. I don't know why. Tell me in the comments below why we have that thing happening, as today we play up against Spezia, and we'll see what team we play for that one. To answer the question of what side we're going to go for today, it's a very rotated one. That is the answer to the question, but it still should be strong enough, hopefully, to beat Spezia. We're going to go with the 5-3-2 formation, and Patricio's going to be in goal. Zagadou alongside Romagnoli and Kumbula at centre back. De Sciglio on the left, Lazaro playing on the right. Isco in that deep line playmaker role I was mentioning to play in central midfield. We'll see how he does there. Dropping into this gap, getting the ball and distributing it to the wing backs going forward, the two midfielders pushing up, and the two strikers as well. Cristante and Ceballos will be either side of Isco today, and Artur Cabral and Sesko will play up front. It's Sesko's first start of the season. Hopefully he does well. And Cabral, remember, we signed him last year. He never got to play because he was one of the non-EU players, and I didn't read that rule, and that was not sensible. But he's going to be playing today. He's got the number 10 on his back, and hopefully he can get himself his first Roma goal today. Let's get into it, and let's have a good win. I must admit, looking at the stats, we've not dominated this game as much as I would have liked. And the first highlight of the game is going to Spezia. They advance down their right-hand side. Holm with it, gets past De Sciglio. He keeps going with it. He swings the ball into the box, and it's a missed header from Zagadou. He's done that a few times before, and we just about escape via not conceding a goal. Lazaro gives away a foul. The ref looks like he wanted to give a card, but he didn't. The ball swung into the front post. No one's marking him. And Emil Holm, the right back, scores a goal early on here. Spezia lead 1-0, and nobody marks him at the front post. Look, Lazaro should be marking this man. The ball comes in, he just doesn't. And it's 1-0 to Spezia. And if that is going to be the way that we defend with our backup right back, maybe we shouldn't sell Florenzi. Corner kick right before half-time. The ball swung in, and they went up 2-0. Oh, dear. Dearie me. And it's not even undeserved. Look at the stats. They totally deserve to be winning so far. We've been just really, really poor. Let's see. We've got a highlight just before the half. And I wonder if we can do anything with this. Cabral, Cristante, Lazaro on this right-hand side. Back to Cristante. Through towards Sesko. And he's got the ball into the goal just. I'm not sure what happened there. Was it a save from Zoe? Maybe? I'm not sure. But it certainly snuck by just about. Lazaro with the ball into Cristante. Here's a lovely ball in behind the defence here. Sesko gets to... Oh, the keeper gets the hands onto it. But it just wasn't strong enough. We've managed to sneak a goal before half-time, which is good, but I tell you, we're not playing well. We really are not. I'll see what happens here as we encourage the entire team at the start of the second half. And if nothing changes, both the wing backs are playing so poorly. Let's make some changes. Spinazzola and Florenzi coming on in the wing back positions. There's nothing to do apart from that, because the two that were there were on 6.1s and 6.2s, which is not good enough. And one of the most important positions in this team. So we're demanding some more, and nothing is happening here. However, Florenzi swings in the free kick, and that was nearly a second goal for us. If we move to an attacking mentality for the last 10 minutes, nothing seems to be happening. We're getting back into the game, it looks like, looking at the stats, but we're not actually doing anything with it. And there's 2 minutes added time. And are we going to get another highlight? No. We're going to lose 2-1 against a team who should be bottom half of the table. And that was... Oh, what a poor episode this has been. 2 defeats, and I'll be honest, we didn't deserve to win any of the 2 games. You can see that the main problem we had was Lazaro and De Sciglio, 6.1, 6.2. You just can't be having that in some of your important positions in those wide areas. So we just weren't creating enough chances. isn't good enough, and hopefully we can find something to make us good enough in the next episode as we get to deadline day. Thank you very much for watching along with us here. I know that we said that we'd do deadline day today, but that's going to be the next episode. 2 games today, 2 defeats. I know it's not ideal, but if you have enjoyed the episode, please do leave a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until the next one, where we've got transfer deadline day, we'll see you then.